Hi guys, Danny here. Welcome to my next video in my marathon of EurekaSwap videos. In this video, I'm going to go through liquidity pools. To go over real quick, right now EurekaSwap is CeFi, so you'll need to register. Later on, when the decentralized wallet is done, it will be 100% decentralized. CeFi being you just deposit into your wallet and withdrawals off of a node. Everything else running in the background is already running on smart contracts. There's only ERK, IPX, and SOT in right now because we're kind of in a soft launch, making sure that there's no bugs, sorting everything out before the wrapped assets are going to be introduced and liquidity pools will grow. And to give you an idea, well, okay, let's go back here. So if you want to deposit into your wallet, you will go to deposit, ERK, IPX, SOT. Let's see, let's do it up here so you can see this wallet address. As I change, you will see that that address is the same. That is because this is EurekaSwap on the Eureka blockchain, so it needs to be ERK or an ERK Eureka blockchain token to be deposited here. Now, each token has its own address, so the system will recognize it by the contract address, which you could actually find over here on the Block Explorer. If we click on Impulse X, IPX, that has a certain contract address. That's how it recognizes what you sent. Okay, sorry, my wife was yelling down there, threw me off there a bit. So on my YouTube channel, if whatever you want to know about EurekaSwap, instead of making a really long 5-hour video, I'm making smaller ones. So you find that subject, go into my YouTube channel, make sure you subscribe, and then go into the playlist. You'll find a EurekaSwap playlist. What you want to know, look on that playlist and you should be able to find it. In this video, I'm doing liquidity pools. I've already done the bank and melting pot, and I'm just going to put these in a list and put it in our Telegram group, which you can find in the description below. A link to this, a link to EurekaX. And okay, let's get into liquidity pools. So right now, the first thing I want to make sure everybody understands, very important, on EurekaSwap, when you go into a liquidity pool, it goes in US dollar value, and you'll receive a token. I'll go through that in a minute, but the idea that you want to understand is the USD value. This is very important because when you're looking at assets like ERK and IPX, we expect those to increase in value a lot. That's what I think. So in that case, you don't want to put it into a liquidity pool, not your long-term holdings you've been holding for a long time, hoping they're going to go up in value, because after it goes into the liquidity pool, you're getting the US dollar value in it. So if you put in, let's say, 10,000 Eureka that's worth around $30, $40 right now into a liquidity pair, and a year later you took it out and now the price of Eureka is, $1, let's say. It's actually that Eureka you put in is now worth $10,000, not $40, but in your liquidity pool, it's still worth $40, right? So when you take it out, you've still got that dollar value minus the tax in and the tax out. So you don't want to do that. Now, if you do have assets that, or you want to invest your crypto, and I'm not telling you how to invest. This is full disclaimer here. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. I'm just explaining to you how EurekaSwap works. So say you had $1,000, you wanted to say I want to earn with that, then you could go over, and later on in EurekaSwap, we will have actually thousands of assets to choose from, and I'll show you a few right now. So you click on tokens here, we can go down to the bottom and say, okay, now I want to put, okay, when you go into liquidity pools, it's 50-50. So you'd have to have like 50% Matic, and 50% Link to go into a liquidity pool. So you could take that dollar or your profits from EurekaSwap and say, okay, I'm going to buy some wrapped Matic, I'm going to buy some wrapped Link, and I'm going to put that into a liquidity pool. So that's kind of the idea, the way you want to think about these liquidity pools and how to add liquidity to them. Or maybe the price of Eureka and IPX just pops up there and you say, right, now I'm going to sell a little bit, I'm going to buy some of these and put them into a liquidity pool. So what's the advantages of doing that and why have they done it that way? Well, one reason is, you really mitigate your risk. You reduce your risk in your liquidity pools this way, because normally if you put Matic and Link into a liquidity pool, if both of those went up and you had the value of Link and Matic, if both of them went up, then your liquidity pool, when you took it out, you would have that value. If one went up and went down, you would have less value. If both of them went down, you'd have less value. So having the liquidity pools in USD really reduces your risk, plus it allows you to go into more liquidity pools, not worrying about whether that asset is going to increase or decrease in value, because you went in USD, so it doesn't matter. You're in there purely to earn from that liquidity pool. So actually, if you think, Audius, you'd have to look that token up. If you think that's very popular asset to trade, you might say, okay, well, I'm going to buy some Audius and some AudioX, sorry, it is Audius, AudioX, that X on the back of all of these, Ethereum X, BTC X, Link X, that X means that is a wrapped version of that asset on the Eureka blockchain. So now you could say, okay, I'll get some very important one here, USDTX, and some AudioX, and I'm going to go into a liquidity pool or create a liquidity pool for those. So then when people from AudioX want to come over and do swaps from USDTX to AudioX, they've got that pool to work out of. And now when they do swaps in that pool, you're going to 60% of that swap fee goes to people that are providing that liquidity in that pool. So you get part of that. Plus, when you go into the pool, it's going to cost you 6% of what you put in. 3% of that is going to go back to liquidity providers already in that pool. If you're the one that starts the pool, you're going to get 3% back. So it really costs you 3% to go in, and it costs you 3% to come out in dollar value. Okay? So why would you want to go into these liquidity pools? Well, as I just explained, anybody that comes in after you, 3% of whatever they get put in gets sent out to other people in that specific pool. So that whole 6% it costs them to go in will go by IPX. Kicks in the liquidity of IPX, kicks in the liquidity of Eureka. That's a different video I'll go over, but what you need to understand is somebody comes in, 6% of tax goes to buy IPX, and that IPX is sent right back to you and everybody else in that pool and split up, and will come into your main wallet right here. I think later on you'll have a way to track how much you're making out of each liquidity pool, and there'll probably be an APR that updates to show how much people there are earning, and this can be quite lucrative because most swap sites, if you provide liquidity, you just get part of that transaction fee, and that's it. And but with EurekaSwap, you'll get 3% of any time anybody deposits or withdraws from a liquidity pool, plus 60% of the transaction fee in IPX. Okay, so that's just an overview of liquidity pools and how they work, without going into the actual mechanism of how to do it. But at this point, I'm going to show you how to go in and go out of a liquidity pool. So if you go up to liquidity, add liquidity. Now there's something you have to understand here, and don't stop watching this video right now, because once you add liquidity, you actually haven't added liquidity until you go down to farm and add farms. So what we're going to do in liquidity now is we're going to add liquidity, and we're going to create LP tokens, which we're going to be able to use on our farm. you don't use those tokens over in the farm, you actually haven't added liquidity yet. I don't want to confuse everybody, but this is the way it works. I think honestly it would be better to, in liquidity, instead of adding liquidity, probably change that to create LP token. Then people are going to ask the question, so what do I do now? And again, we can change this interface. Can't change the smart contracts working in the background. So when we go to add liquidity, I think what we're going to have over here is more instructions. Right now, at this point, while I'm making this video, they're trying to make sure everything in the background, all the smart contracts are working. There's been a couple small issues, and they are working to correct and smooth out the system so then we can start adding more assets here, wrapped assets, start building liquidity pools. Right now, this is kind of just a soft launch test phase. So you've only got the 3 assets. So let's go through and do that. Let's add liquidity and then let's take it out. So this is how you're going to do it. You go to liquidity, add liquidity. Again, I'm not going to suggest that you do this with IPX and SOT. You want to hold on to those. But just for future reference, this is how you do it. Okay, choose a pair. But I think later on you'll be able to add a pair. So what I was showing you over here, if you want to add Matic and Link, you can create your own pair and put it in there. Go for it. Add liquidity. We're happy with that. Add a pair, you'll be able to choose which ones you want to add. But right now we're going to go add liquidity. Choose a pair. Let's do EurekaSwap. Now, ERK amount, I put in 1. Look what pops up, 0.045. I add 10. ERK, that's because when you go into a liquidity pool, it's in USD, it's balancing that, and it's in US dollars, so you need to add, all swap sites are basically the same, 50% this and 50% that. So when you put in your ERK amount, it'll automatically calculate your SOT amount, or this is going to work the same for any pair that you want to put into. You'll start adding the amount of this, and it's going to show you the amount of that you're going to need. You might need to do this plan to go back and actually buy the second asset or the first asset. So you can actually pop in here and use it to say, like, okay, if I wanted to go into this pair, how much would I need? 1, and how much? Okay, go back out, do your swap, get that set up in your wallet, and then you can come back in here. So it's 50-50. So 10 ERK, and I need to put in 4.57882 SOT. If I put that up to 100, now I need 45. And remember, right now there's very little liquidity in here, so you know these calculations might not be perfect yet. As all the liquidity pairs build, these calculations will change. So let's do it. See now down below here, what do we have? You put in 100 ERK, now it says 94 ERK will be added in liquidity. Why? Because you're paying 6% in. This is where you'll see how much you're going to get added in liquidity. For SOT, 43. So I'm not getting 45.7882, and I think they've just added this. That's great. And then you've got the calculations down here of EurekaSwap. So that's your 6% in, and the 6% is actually going to happen on the way out. Why? Well, so you can earn more in the liquidity pool. Also, it keeps people from coming into the liquidity pool for 10 minutes and going right back out, like I'm just going to do right now. By the way, I'm trying to keep these videos short, but this one, it's going to be a little bit longer because there's more to explain. I want to try to cover everything. So somebody comes in with their USDT and their wrapped USDTX and their LinkX. They're going to pay 6% in, so they're going to keep it in there for a long period. What happens in other swaps, it's all of a sudden, we've all seen it in crypto, the whole market starts dumping. If you don't have something like this in your swap site, people are just going to come in and just take everything they have out of liquidity, and then you have no liquidity left in your swap site. In EurekaSwap, it's in USDT, so there's no reason to worry about that. Probably when the market's dumping, people come in to swap in your swap site, and then you'll earn when the market's dumping because you're earning from that swap fee. So it helps to balance out the system in the fact that, as I explained, you can go into any pair you want. You don't have to worry about if it's very vulnerable to market conditions. So that helps balance out EurekaSwap, where we can have a large amount of liquidity in everything instead of other swap sites. You go in and you look, most of the liquidity is in the USDT and very unvulnerable pairs. When EurekaSwap, it can be spread out. Your risk is minimized because you don't worry about market conditions, and you're going to earn. So here's your 6% in from the bottom down there. Add liquidity. Your liquidity added successfully. Now we're not in liquidity yet. Go over to farms, add farm, choose your pair. Which one we did? We did the EurekaSwap. Yeah, available LP tokens. So what I was saying is what we've just done there is add liquidity. So we've created LP tokens. Really, I think in liquidity, when you add liquidity, it should say, create LP tokens. What are these LP tokens? How much are they worth? It's just a representation of what you just did. I would suggest you get out your notebook or create a file on your computer and keep track of what you put in, right? That's the best way to do it. So right here, you've got your available LP tokens for this. If I want to add it to farming and actually add the liquidity, I'm going to type in 63.60. And I think right now you can't put in these last little bits because they're worth like 1/100th, 1/1,000,000th of a penny or something. So if you got the first two decimals, it works. That's what I found out. And you hit add farming. Your stake was updated. Okay, where do we see that? Now I've got available token 0. I go back to my wallet. Okay, when you add liquidity, you create tokens. You'll see those tokens here, the tokens that I just used. When you use those tokens in farming, they show up here. So I can see under that pair, I have 63.60 tokens in liquidity in EurekaSwap. And they will be earning me IPX, which will come here. All right. Now, when you want to take that out, you're going to go back over to farming. This is a two-step process. Withdraw farms, choose pair, EurekaSwap, amount. I got 63.6, 63.6. Withdraw farming. Your stake was updated. Okay, let's go back to, back to my wallet. And you can see your stake wallet, I've got nothing. So I'm out of the liquidity pool now. Your LP token, EurekaSwap, I've got those tokens still. Now let's go, if I want to take those tokens back out to my wallet balance, I got to go to liquidity, withdraw liquidity, select pair, EurekaSwap. Available balance is right here now. That is 63.6. Those are your liquidity LP tokens. So if I withdraw that liquidity, pull EurekaSwap, you have successfully withdrawn your liquidity, and I paid another 6% to take that out. So you don't want to do this like I just did. I just lost 12% doing that just for you guys to make this video. And that, my friends, is how you do it. Your wallet, now that EurekaSwap are back in your wallet, minus 12%, which actually went to those people, you are very welcome, that were already in that liquidity pool. And that's how it works, guys. I hope I answered all the questions for liquidity pools right there. I try to do my best. Again, I'm going to do more and more videos about what happens in the background. I've already done now in my playlist on my YouTube channel under EurekaSwap. You will find everything you need to know about how to use the melting pot, how to stake your IPX for the bank, and now liquidity pools, more to come, guys. We're just getting started. Burn, 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 EurekaSwap, burn, baby, burn. Bye.